Hey, if you're living in Merida or moving to Merida, today I'm going to take you on a walking tour of Colonia Mexico Norte. This is one of the older colonials in Mexico, or in Merida, and it has some gorgeous houses. I walked through here yesterday and I wanted to bring you guys along just so you can kind of get an idea of the houses that are here in Colonia Mexico Norte. There's a lot of neat restaurants here as well as houses, and take a look. So one of the things that you'll notice here is that the police actually patrol the neighborhoods, and they're pretty friendly, but they ride around with their lights on, which can be a little off-putting if you're not used to that. They'll ride around, they'll check things out, they'll just see what's going on. So that is one of the cool things I like about Merida, is the police presence. And it's also one of the things that keeps Merida very safe, is the fact that the police actually are patrolling neighborhoods, they're checking out, they're seeing what's happening, and you know, you're not going to get very far doing anything crazy with the police around here. So Mexico Norte, and I hope you guys can hear me okay. I have to have my mask on today because I am out kind of in the regular streets, the public streets, and there are police around, and I'm sure somebody will stop me if I don't have my mask on. So but Mexico Norte is just north of Itzimna, and to the, let's see, to the east of Campestre. This is a little more non-neighborhood like. I mean, it's a colonial, but the streets have, you know, good traffic coming through, in some cases in both directions. So it's a little different than the last neighborhood that I showed you. We are really one block off of the main street. If you can see back there, crossing this intersection, that is Avenida Libano, and the Lebanese are some of the more affluent folks here in Merida. They've been here for a really long time, and their families have generational wealth here. Now I have to be careful because this is not a route that I normally walk, so I gotta look where I'm going. I just passed a big old pothole, which was weird. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. So this house that I'm walking beside, you can kind of see the wall. You obviously see the security cameras. And there's like a guard shack here, or not a shack, a guard stand, where they probably have security behind those tinted windows. And all you see on the building is number 72. So I have no idea what this is, but they got their own power generators or transformers right above the house. So clearly it is something important, or someone important that lives here. The house across the street is pretty interesting. All I can see is a gazebo, or kind of like an outdoor patio park over the wall, but that seems pretty cool. And this house that we're passing with all the security is a block long. I definitely saw some houses yesterday that were for sale and for rent that piqued my interest in this neighborhood. It's not far from the north area, has good access to the main road, so really you're talking, you know, to the Starbucks that I walked to in the first video, you're about 3 miles maybe. We'll end up close to INM, the immigration office, and I'll kind of walk you through there. Hey, I wanted you guys to see this house over here on other side. Let's see. This is one of the houses that I saw yesterday. And it's actually for sale. I'm not going to show you this number because I'm going to do some research on this guy. But it's a single level house that I thought was pretty cool. So I'm going to take a detour and just kind of walk up here because this is one of the houses that has a lot of stories around it in Merida. It's a very, very unique house that you'll see. And it's smack dab in the middle of Colonia Mexico. You can't miss it. It's a good landmark because you know exactly where you are when you hit this house. You guys should be seeing it now in the frame. Across the street is this big green house. I'm actually going to walk right by it. Get a closer look. So, I haven't walked down these streets before, so let me cross over. I got the light. So that's the house I'm talking about there. Look at this thing. So, it's a pretty big house. And I don't know the full story behind it, but looks like it should be a restaurant or something. I met a guy in Tulum. Buenos dias. I met a guy in Tulum that was telling me that his girlfriend's mom lived in that house, or his girlfriend's grandmother lived in that house. So I don't know how true that is, but that was kind of the story that I got while we were at a restaurant in Tulum. I like this area because there's a lot of established trees, lots of shade. Street. I've never been over here before, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Buenos dias. So this is like a fairly busy street that I'm walking on now. I'm not on like the sidewalk or the side streets. There's two-way traffic, as I told you earlier. And I'm walking around a camera, so this isn't obvious, the most inconspicuous setup. But I don't mind. Pretty cool looking restaurant. The BierHause. German BierHause. I'll turn around and show you what I'm talking about. It's the German BierHause across the street. This walk is only about 2 miles from my house. In fact, I just hit the 2-mile mark right now. So again, things in Merida are pretty close. One neighborhood to the next is not super far. So we're arriving to Manifesto Coffee. And the cool thing about Manifesto Coffee is they roast their own beans. I first found out about them when I was in Centro. We were living in Centro for a while, and they consistently pop up as one of the best coffee shops in Merida. I like this spot over Mexico Norte because it's just a chill location. This is the patio. This place is outstanding. Buenos días. This is an awesome patio. They are in there getting it ready for the manifesting that's going to happen. Buenos días. Gracias.
Yo, check out the two mats on the ground. One is wet and full of sanitizer. The other one is to dry your shoes. This is one of the COVID-19 protocols that's in place at all restaurants and stores in Merida, Mexico.
Buenos días.
One of the things I really love about living in Merida, Mexico during the pandemic is that every place you go, they will sanitize your feet, your hands, and also take your temperature.
So this is the patio from the inside. Let me just take a walk. It's pretty big. I mean, they have a couple of tables here per person for a lot of folks. This bench. They have excellent, the Wi-Fi here is pretty good, and they also have really good, they have plugs. So if you even look on this bench, they're ready. So if you wanted to work outside, you could. Again, this time of year in Merida, the temperature and the weather is perfect, especially in the morning. So, you know, looking here, this is the patio. So a fun fact about myself is I am a koi keeper, and so I love koi fish. When I buy a house here in Merida, you can rest assured that there will be some type of water feature and or koi garden in that house. Café americano para mí, para una taza para llevar.
Ok, perfecto.
Gracias.
Café americano, taza para llevar.
Sí. You want one?
¿Igual? ¿Dos?
Dos.
Perfecto. Igual
Yes.
para llevar el...
Sí, sí, sí.
Stepping into Manifesto Coffee, you see that each of the seats on the bench here against the wall are USB plugs for your power. There's also this neat Japanese siphon that they have here in the window, which is just awesome. The staff here is super nice. They've been extremely accommodating. Last week we had a conference call and we were in this little room here, and they actually cut the music down for us so we could take the conference call. This space is pretty large. I mean, there's a couple of tables. It's pretty private. You also have power against the wall, so this is also a good option with air conditioning indoors. As we approach the bar here, you can see that, check out these cookies. Man, these cookies are absolutely, they look amazing. And I've been eating the apple strudel, which is just incredible. But they have multiple ways of making coffee. They have this nice espresso machine. I believe you saw an AeroPress on the other side. They actually roast their own beans here at Manifesto Coffee. I think I mentioned that in the beginning. And so they sell their coffee beans along with other coffee items to get you going. Thank you guys for joining me on my morning walk through Colonia Mexico to Manifesto Coffee. If you like this video, do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that bell. Until next time, MexitPlans Monte, I'm out!